So
I think, a good question that got bandied about in some emails that went back and forth today, is the whole, question of bonded indebtedness and the impact bonded indebtedness has on the tax cap.
Yeah.
In other words, if you have to go into improvements because you're dealing with a 45-year-old system, okay, what's the impact of the bonded indebtedness that you have to undertake to remediate your system? And,
That's exactly what we're dealing with.
yeah,
I think to this point, that is counted as, revenue being raised through assessment and has to be under 2%.
That's the way
Fix it.
you've understood it, and
And-
we went on it, on that basis last year.
And that's the way it was, because there
Well,
were
we have-
municipalities that went over because they had to fix things.
Right, we will be having an opportunity to probably to ask that direct question when the tax cap seminar comes
that's
up.
what I'm saying.
And it's a very real possibility that we will have to,
Say we're gonna go through.
say we're going to
Yeah.
go through with an override of the tax cap, but we want to be ready, and Jim pointed this out, we want to be ready to show the public, this is why. This is your infrastructure, it's 45, 50 years old in most places. This is where we've been experiencing deficiencies. We all know that we can't get the water out of the ground fast enough. We have plenty of water in the ground, we can't get it out fast enough because of the size of the pipe. And I think Scott told us they've already retained somebody, Van Fleet or something like that, at like $3,500 to do a hydraulic analysis or something like. Basically, what we wanna do is we wanna sink a bigger pipe, but you wanna make sure that in the process of sinking that pipe, you don't close off the 6-inch pipe that's supplying the whole town. So you have to be very, very careful. You don't wanna jeopardize what you've got to try and improve your facility. So we're moving forward on that. That's one of the smaller expenses. But tower painting, new towers, there's a new tank farm, we have to start thinking about, putting new
Lift
tanks.
station replacement.
Lift station replacements.
Yeah.
Tom and I have listened to it month after month after month, and we've been trying to kind of get the board ready.
Have
that
you got
we
any
have-
hard numbers?
The hard numbers would probably scare you, because starting out, we're looking at $3.5 to $4 million. But that's to try and get everything done that's on the initial list. Since we've met, and that was probably 6 months ago, there's probably another $2 million that's been looked at, so.
The city 2 years ago, just to give you an example, the city 2 years ago went into, I believe it was a $28 million remediation of their filtration plant. Just to give you an idea of what the numbers are.
And,
Yeah, it's gonna
and
cost us a lot.
to the northern tier, the village of Rouse's Point, town of Champlain,
Yeah.
town of Champlain,
Township.
are trying to combine, and that's a multi-million-dollar as well.
And ours
You gotta
is,
have water.
ours is bigger.
Oh, what was it? Colin Reed's article in the paper this Sunday. He was talking about, I think it was $38 million new sewage treatment plant, tertiary qualified treatment plant.
The only thing Colin had wrong was the location.
So-
Had he made a call, he would have been made aware that there are 2 sites, one in the city, one in the town, upriver, where that could take place and not keep it in the hub at all, but.
Now, this,
Well,
this
his
is the way we're looking
suggestion
at it,
is
right?
his suggestion is fairly valid.
Yeah, lagoons.
But the problem with that, the only problem that is with putting it, like behind GP.
Yeah.
Where it would go out into that dead creek and whatever.
That's why you go upriver.
You're gonna get the people, in those condominium
And
areas
the
down
thing
there.
to look at is,
Like that.
Sure they are,
the
because the
total.
water doesn't move. The
Well,
reason it's a
you
dead
know,
creek is the water kind of
We
sits
don't,
there.
obviously don't wanna change
Are we gonna
everything,
dump
and you
effluent there?
can't all at one year, one time, because you want it over a gradual time. But it all needs it, so total price is really extremely high. The other thing that we wanna look at the same time is, what are the bond rates now? And, in the future, are they gonna be higher or lower? That's, I know it's our guess,
They're
but
not gonna
if
be
the
lower.
bond rates are low, maybe now's the time to do it. If we override the cap now, when we got low bond rates, do more and try to get our system, getting back up to snuff.
Just to add a little bit of salt to the wound, like Jim had pointed out, not only do we need to pay for our infrastructure, or improvements to the infrastructure, but we have to be able to have money put aside moving forward so that we can sustain that in years going forward. You don't wanna float a bond every 10 years
Yeah.
to try and pay for what you're doing. And basically what we've been doing is we've been band-aiding our water and our sewer systems, and we've been making do with very, very minimal increases. The public's not gonna be happy with a large increase, but they would be less happy with a failed system.
We often hear the phrase kicking the can down the road, a lot of criticism of politicians not doing what they're supposed to and let the future generation pay the bill. When you've got rates at $1.41 a thousand, that's why nobody cares if the hose is on all night. It's
No.
in our community. I knew it was more. I was horrified to hear Larry Barcombe talk about their quarterly bills of a couple $100 a pop compared to my $35 just up the road.
We've gotta be.
It's too cheap here.
Yes.
And
And it can't be sustained. I mean,
Not at that rate.
We're putting the town in
Not at that
jeopardy
rate.
if we don't take action, regardless of what the
Well,
public thinks in terms of that.
I
If you
think
wanna do the best thing for the town, you've got to have it, you've gotta do it.
you're not going to have economic growth and development if you can't provide the basic services, and that is one of them. I think the committee are doing a great job. I think the webinar will be an important piece, and I think in the near future, we're gonna nail something
One
down.
more plug the town board would probably like to consider is some money or improving the water and sewer department to spend some money for that web tour. I think it'd be a great idea. We're gonna have to hire somebody. I put it in the monthly report. You haven't probably seen it yet, but one thing we talked about was Scott had asked, he said maybe the town board members would like to go on a tour of the facilities.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, what about the public? And he brought up a very good point. This day and age, you don't wanna bring the public around to all your facilities because you don't know what's in whose mind. So he said, how about a web tour? Which would be a great idea, somebody with a digital camera
Okay,
going
Cal
around facility
Castine, come in.
facility to facility, put it on digital form, put it on the website.
Yep.
Here you go, did take a digital tour of the town facilities. It gives, again, the public out there an idea of just what size of our facilities, and what needs to be done.
Well, not only
Take a
that,
close-up of that take on Hammer Lane, in case people haven't seen it.
or let people know the cost of painting a water tank, which I.
Well, that might
off by
be,
about
that
a
might be some
factor
good
of
commentary.
98%.
That might be some good commentary, Jim, for,
And just say,
in
just
there
so you
that-
know, to paint a water tank is included $1,000.
Why don't we have,
Probably more than
you know how they used to
You
have
just
those,
show that it's not cheap.
you know how they used to have, we put on down and you have to bid on things? Why don't we put up a little quiz on, how much would you think it would cost to do one thing? How much do you think it cost to fix,
That might be a good idea, but,
eight
you know.
hundred feet of that? And then, okay, they guess, but then the real answer comes out. At least people will start realizing what we have invested in the town of Plattsburgh.
I think the only thing you can do is provide the information, making them realize, as much as you all know me as the bleeding heart here, I'm never happy. You just gotta do what you gotta do. It's like parenting. You gotta do the right thing and hope they thank you later.
Yeah.
There's people
Well, even if they don't,
crossing
it
that
doesn't matter,
bridge
because it'll be
and,
done.
those people crossing that bridge in Minneapolis, St. Paul a couple of years ago, someone put a can out and said it's gonna cost you $5 every trip. We gotta get this fixed. Wouldn't have been too happy, but, for those folks that went in there, I think they were sure wishing somebody would have done the maintenance and upkeep. We've got failing infrastructure all over this place. We're in the best shape of anybody, thank you God, we have no dams, et cetera. But we gotta take care of the water.
We got one dam, it's not our dam, but we have a dam.
Yeah, but it's not ours, and they had some problems with that too, that's part of that remediation. Big number. At least we're proactive, so packages come together. I think it might be useful, Tom and Gerard, to, as we really get around this, to have Scott join us for a work session,
Okay.
especially when he's got some numbers. I get very practical, much like Jim, show me the numbers. How far are they out there? Then we can begin to play with the rates and do a little
And
basic
it has to be
math.
done fairly soon, because we gotta do all this year,
Well,
budget.
we need to be moving on it. And, I hope, again, my rose-colored glasses have gotten foggy in 7 years, but the connections between this conversation and Macy Lane are about as wise as, my car didn't start the day you know, the dog howled or something, and one causing the other, it's crazy, but, we will have to be ready for that too. Let me move the agenda a bit, you guys are working well on that.